So good morning. Should we start? Yeah. Should we start? So last week we stopped at the concept of scale. Yeah, and we already discussed with think global, act local. That good morning. Yes, good morning everyone. Good morning, Phạm Hoàng. Yes. So should we start to continue with chapter number 1 and hopefully that we try to finish chapter number 1 today. Yes, that we already discussed with think global, act local. Yeah, that help to think big, yeah, but do something at local or at our business that we can involve better in global economy as well as to have a good cooperation with the partners, yeah. Uh, and now we will and this we can apply, yeah, this we can apply in other field of um, study as well as you can apply as well by your own strategy, yeah? Think about your future job, what is the global future job and what should we do from now. This is also like a think global at local approach, and many business, yeah, in the world as well as in Vietnam as well. I saw in front of your IU canteen, yeah, have the similar sentence like this, but I don't remember. Yeah, and some business apply this for their own activity. So until now, we already discussed with the first 5 concepts of space, location, distance, place, and scale. And this we will see the relationship, yeah, among between these concepts. So this picture just show about the spatial interaction and the relationship between the concepts of space, place, and scale. And within these concepts, we can see the absolute location and the relative look as well the distance. You see, the picture show have several columns, and each column refers to one nation. And we can see there are two circles. Yeah, two circles. The biggest circle is the global scale. The smaller, like regional scale. Yeah, regional scale, and each column is the national scale. That we can see is, yeah, it's like this. So this is the global scale. Yeah, this is global scale, yeah. And this is the regional scale. And each column is a national scale. And we can see there are different spatial interaction amongst scale, right? Like regional scale, you see, uh, the countries within a region, they have more corporates together, and the nation outside the region, it depend on their absolute location, their distance that you see, and about the space, the place, so about the how big, yeah, the size of nation. Like you see, uh, like this nation outside the region, but it has a big size. So big size seem like it refers with a better economy or more opportunity to develop the economy, and then though it is outside the region, but it have some cooperation, yeah, with the region. But the nation that's far distant, yeah, far distant with other nation, and as well far distant with the region, you see, with a small size, that this nation is have less opportunity to cooperate with other nation, as well as with the region that you see, and as well in the region you see, the nation that have bigger size, or yeah, better economy, they have more cooperation together, and the smaller nation or a smaller economy have less cooperation, though, because it close to the other regional nation, so it's have more opportunity, yeah, cooperate, instead of the remote nation like this and small size. That you see with this, we can see the spatial interaction amongst region, and the spatial interaction amongst global, yeah, the world economy, and it depends on the size of the economy, the distance, the absolute location, and the distance of the nation. They each nation has more or less um, economic activity or cooperation with other nations. Yeah, this just show very basically about the geographical concept, and in the contemporary global economy, it's depend on, yeah, the spatial geography of a nation. Uh, that that nation may have its own strategy, yeah, to show to find a solution or to cooperate. Okay, so now we go to the concept of size. Size here refers to total area of each nation. Okay, on the word map show us about the size of every nation on in the world, and in general we can see just there are just some big nation, right? And the biggest is the Russia. Biggest is Russia. Later maybe Canada, United States, China, Australia, but many others is with smaller and very small size. So what's a size tell us about what thing? So the size we can agree that the nation with larger size, they have more natural resources, or they have more geography. Yeah, we can say that, like physical natural resources. That if they have more natural resources, as well as some other resource like human resource, that they have more opportunity to produce the products or more opportunity to develop the economy. We may agree with that. Yeah? And the smaller nation with smaller size, so they have less natural resources, but it's still depend, but less natural resources than the bigger nation. So they have less opportunity to develop the economy. This this theory was accept in the past, yeah, of global economy in the past, but now it changed because we have old economic geography theory and we have the new economic geography theory. So this is the old economic geography theory in the past when the technology is still okay, a slow development, and the global trading is limited, that most of nations, yes, based on their natural resources to produce the product for trading. That is the old economic geographical economic theory. But nowadays, the word apply the new theory. Okay, we will discuss the new theory later. But at least, like in the macro economics, yeah, they apply the old geographical economic theory. Is about the large size, more resource, more more production, and more trading. Yeah, in the past. And yes, and the smaller have less, but until now, why the old theory is not work at the current, the contemporary global economy? Because the old theory cannot answer for the case like why the country with very large size but weaker economy, and why the very small nation like Japan, Singapore, and some other smaller size in the Western Europe like Germany, France, Italy, Switzerland, Norway, yeah, with smaller size, but they have a strong, even the strongest economies in the world. The old theory cannot answer, because that's why you see the new theory uh, analyze in the way that we can answer for the question, like why Japan? Yeah, in 1960, Japan announced that Japan had no natural resources for economic development. But after that, Japan be the strong economy in the world, because now the global trading is more developed, and the country without or limit resources, they can import, yeah, import, export, and natural resources can delivering around the world, like natural resources flows, yeah, flows, moving from nation to nation, and support for every nation to produce the products, and depend on their economic activity, they can develop in their way. Yes, and yeah, the new theory can be more discussion, but we just apply for this to answer the question. Uh, that we can see, it is not mean that the large size, stronger economy and a smaller size, weaker economy. But we can agree, we can accept with the large size, more resource. Why? Because you see, with the large size, the nation can go to many the, go to different climates. Yeah. Okay, I would like to show you the introduction that can easy to understand. Okay, it's like this is uneven development of nature. We will discuss a bit later, but I would like to analyze, yeah, say a little bit that you can see. For example, like Russia, yeah, Russia And we have Russia in this map. This is the climate, the global climate. And Russia goes to several longitude and latitude as well. That Russia can have some climates, yeah. And you see with climate, each climate support for the special ecosystem, and each ecosystem has flora, fauna, and special natural resources. Yeah, for example, like in deserts, though the climate is very dry, but deserts support more for mineral resources. Yeah, and like in the Amazon area will have a lot of fresh water, but no mineral resources. But can support more for agriculture or some other resources. That is the ecosystem. And the nation with large area, okay, for example, like America. Yeah, we have America, and America in here you can see with different color show about America has various climate. In various climates, America has various ecosystem, and this country have many resources with flora, fauna, and natural resources that we can okay support well for the national economy. It's based on this. It's have economic activity. About mineral, yeah, this is the mineral that you see is we call this is the uneven, yeah, uneven development of nature because the mineral is not equally distributed on the Earth's surface. Some place with dense with mineral resources, and some other with less or maybe no. Yes, that we can see, for example, like this, no resources or maybe very few. But with this, okay, this area is located in China. Yeah, this is in China. Russia has, but not as much as China, right? And you see Australia, yeah, Australia, many resources, mineral resources. And this is in the South Africa, uh, especially you see like America, but many other places with very few or small resources. And in the past, yeah, the area with more resources have more opportunity to produce the product. That is right. Um, but how can we explain why the nation with large size, more resources, but weaker economy? Yes, it can be okay based on some region reasons. For example, like uh, low level of economy, low technology, low knowledge, for example, because they lack of technology, they don't know how to exploit the resources for economy. We can explain like that. And with the small size, but lack of resources, but they know how to import. Yeah, the resources for producing products. That's we can understand why the smaller size but stronger economy. Yeah, we just discussed about the size concept like this. And the follow slide, we don't need to spend much time on this because it just tells us about the total area of each nation, and this very easy for you to find from internet. Yeah, so we should skip it and move to the next slide. The next concept is about the shape of nation. About the shape of nation, as we can see that every nation has the border, yeah, the territoriality, and the border form a shape of nation. We can see that there are many forms, yeah, but these forms have something related to the condition for national economy, and the word classify the nations, yeah, into several shape of nation, and the shape tell us some information and some important information. Okay, well, there are 8 types of shape of nation: compact, elongate, protrude, fragment, perforate, landlocked, enclave, and exclave. Yeah, we have 8 types, and each shape of the states has advantages and disadvantages. It depends on the shape of nation. So we will discuss in detail. First, we will discuss with the compact nation. So compact is like compact dish, yeah, CD. That is very small, yeah, small size. And in Vietnamese is like okay. Yeah, this is like compact city, compact dish, and it seems like the very small size. But we can see it look like a cookie. Yeah, a cookie. Okay, we discuss a bit later. A cookie. Yes. The characteristic of a shape of nation is small, yeah, small and centralized. So centralized is like a cookie. You see, it's centralized in the round area, and small size. And Poland, yeah, Poland is a typically like of compact nation. It keep it keeps the country together by making communication easier within this. Okay, so easier means advantage, yeah, advantage, that easier to communicate within it, and this we can understand like the government easier to communicate with people within a nation. Yeah, good communication, then better support or something. And as well, the government easy to control a whole nation. You see, because each place is close together, short distance. Yeah, easier to communicate, easier to connect. As well, government easier to control a whole nation because short distance. So these are advantages of the compact shape of nation. So what is the disadvantages? What are disadvantages of the compact nation? However, it is primarily small inside there and therefore may not have as many natural resources as larger states have. So you see, we just mentioned before, because it's small size, it's very small size. So you see, Poland is very small around here, very small. And you see in here, no resources, no resource. small size, so may not have as many natural resources as larger state have. That is disadvantage. A perfect example of compact state could be Poland. Yeah, Poland here. Okay, with easier communication and the shape with the compact like this, we can find some other advantage. So what is the other advantage? With the area like this, so easy to communicate, easy to connect, that easy for trading, yeah, to transport, yeah, for example, easy for trading within nation, yeah, and small. Okay, you may find some other, okay, you may find some other advantages and disadvantages on this. Yeah, this we can see more advantages, and disadvantages is limit resources. And limit resources can be a limited human resources as well, right? And the flows, yeah, the flows across space is limited as well because it's very small size. Okay, so we can apply with the reverse concept for uh, this shape of nation. So we would like to move the next shape, and we back again with this because it have some discussion together. Yeah, with elongate. The second shape is the elongate, and the characteristic of elongate is the state that is long and narrow. That's long and narrow. And Vietnam, you see, Vietnam is in the shape of elongate, long and narrow. Chile is tropically. Yeah, Vietnam is the Vietnam have the bigger part in the north, but in general we can see long and narrow. And this type has mainly disadvantages. So what are disadvantages? Such as Chile makes for difficult government of peripheral areas in the north and south. Yeah, that you see in compactness, government easy to connect, to control a whole nation, to communicate with people, and in this shape is opposite. The government difficult to control a whole nation. Government difficult to manage a whole nation, especially the peripheral area. So peripheral area means far distant, yeah, remote areas. Because you see from the north and the south, it's very far distant, but with compact, short distance. So it seems like advantages of compact shape can be disadvantages of elongate, and disadvantages of compact can be advantage of elongate. Why? First, we can see, yeah, government easy to control in the compact, but elongate. Government difficult to control because far distant to the central government. So based on far distance of the central government, we can see more disadvantages. So what are they? What are they? Yeah. So we discuss with advantages first. This can be more advantageous than compact. So what is the advantages? That you see long and narrow. That based on long, then the nation may move to several latitude and longitude. Yeah, if the nation have many latitude and latitude or longitude, yeah, because it's long and narrow, then it may go to several climates that we mentioned before, yeah, several climates, or and as well, it may have more kind of resources. Yes, it's like this, for example, long and narrow. You see, if long and narrow, it may goes to many or various climates, and it may have different ecosystem. Yeah, like Vietnam. You see, Vietnam is long and narrow. We have in the north a cooler, yeah, cooler or climate. In the middle, warmer. In the south, warmer. In the north, different climate, and it's also have various landscape. Yeah, landscape related to ecosystem. Ecosystem Ecosystems have many flora, fauna, and resources. Wow, that's you see in the north, Vietnam has more mountains, and we have more mineral for industry. Yes, in the south of Vietnam, we have more river, more fresh water, and support more for agriculture. Vietnam long and narrow, so Vietnam has very long sea border, so Vietnam can develop more with sea economy. Sea economy can be aquaculture, fishing, oil extraction, and tourism. Yes, you see, that's long and narrow support for a nation have more kind of resources, more kind of landscape, and more opportunity to develop many economies. Instead of Poland, you see, limited resources and landscape is simple. Yeah, simple landscape that uh, cannot support well for many economies. But disadvantages of long and narrow is because it's have more kind of resources, but each kind of resource is limited. Yeah, because it's small. You see, long then uh, resources have a small quantity, however, more kind of resources. And any other advantages? Okay, so I will discuss more with advantages, but you may think about disadvantages. So based on long and narrow, what are disadvantages of long and narrow with this kind of shape? Yeah, so please share your ideas on the chat box. Yeah, what is the disadvantage? That you see the advantages, yeah. However, an elongate state encompass a variety of landscape. So variety of landscape means vast variety of ecosystem and resources, more kind of resources, but limit quantity. So long and narrow. What is the disadvantage? The first disadvantage we can see on the slide that government difficult to control because far distance, yeah, long distance. And long distance we can see, okay, from Tin Đạt weather changes, the government has to face difficult impacts of weather and prepare for many aspects. Yes, can be the problem that okay, uh, the weather changes, but here I think that mentioned about the typical weather, yeah, like storm or tropical storm or earthquake. Yes, that government very difficult to show the problem. Yes, this is one of disadvantage. From Kim Ngân, yeah, difficult to place a capital city. People are spread out, hard to control, enforce law, and defense border. Yes, but how can we understand? First, Kim Ngân mentioned about far from capital. Far from capital, that means the slide tells us the government difficult to manage a whole nation because from central government, yeah, the area far from central government. That means the government cannot support well for people in the far distance. That's the problem. Yes, and Kim Ngân mentioned about hard to control, enforce law, and defense border. Enforce law. What is enforce law? Enforce law is like the policy created by the central government and applied uh, to the whole nation, right? But because far distant, that the government policy cannot work or something that is like difficult to enforce law, yeah, or something like that. And defense borders. So what is the defense borders? From Hin, yeah, there are difficulties in communicating between local area and capital and the effective transport. Yes, this is right. You see, because far distant, government difficult to control, it also mean limit communication between people and government. Yes. From Đăng Khoa, yeah, promote isolation. Yes, as well. That you see, we said about limit communication far distance. So many places or many areas will be isolation from government. It means government lack of control or lack of support for the isolated areas. Yes, from Đức Lộc, yeah, from Đức Lộc, transportation is harder to travel when there's only room for few highways. Yes, that's right, because far distance, so longer transportation, and the government have to invest more for infrastructure in case that government lack of financial. So how can government support for the far distant area location? So that is the advantages. Yeah, far distant. And as well, if various landscape like in the north of Vietnam, more mountains that you see very difficult for transportation. Yeah, from Ngọc Uyên, difficult to defend and travel within the country. Yes, difficult to travel. Difficult to defend. Okay, what we discussed with difficult to defend. Why is it? Phong Hoàng Ninh, yeah, uneven distribution of rivers, lands, and climate leading to unequality in productivity. For example, uneven in agriculture in Vietnam. Yes, that's we already discussed. Yes, uneven development of nature brings many other uneven activities. Yes, and so different climate different landscape, different climates may bring some disadvantages, yeah, for managing the economic activity in different resources, landscape. Yes, that's okay. More landscape, more opportunity, but more difficult to manage, of course. Yes. And what else? Okay, we discussed a bit with difficult to defend. Some of you mentioned about difficult to defend. So what is it? This we you can we can think more about far distant, yeah, far distant from the central government. That government cannot control the remote area. So what happened when the policy of government apply in the remote area but it's not work? It's not work mean the remote area sometimes don't understand or sometimes don't want to apply the new policy. What happened when the remote area the government have no eyes on that? What happened? We can see some social problem, yeah, like criminal or something, rebellion or something, because no control by government. Then someone may do something wrong. That's the social problem. And you can think more about the place that government cannot control. What happened? It's about defense. Defense the nation. What is it? Okay, just very easy to answer, but more discussion. You see, what happened when one nation, what happened when government of a nation cannot control the nation? Easy to separate. Yes, easy to separate, but how? How to be separate? That's I would like to say more with Mok Quỳnh. Yeah, ideas. Okay, thank you so much for your nice ideas. So I would like to say more, or if you have more ideas, so please explain more about easy to separate. What is it? Why easy to separate? And someone can explain more about this? Yeah, like Mok Quỳnh said about easy to separate. I would like to show you, I like to explain with you uh, the shape of compact. Yeah, so you see this compact shape is look like a roll cookie. Yeah, a roll cookie, and elongate is like the long and narrow cookie with two kind of cookies. Which one is easy to be broken? That Mộng Quỳnh mentioned about easy to separate. I say easy to be broken. With the shape of compact cookie and elongate cookie. Which one easy to be broken into pieces? Long and narrow, right? This long, so easy to be broken in the middle or something. Mộc Quỳnh share more like there is no solidarity among people. Yes, yes, of course. And based on this, that's bring the separated. So easy to be broken. And why? Okay, from Hoàng Ninh, illegal shape weakens nation defense because the government laws cannot strongly manage a whole nation. That nation potentially gets politically and physically attacked. Yes, yes, that is right. I ask you, the row cookie and the narrow cookie, which one is easy to be broken? Because when government of a nation cannot control a nation, then other governments will come to control. You see, long and narrow, more resources, more kind of resources, more opportunity to develop the economy. But the national government cannot control a nation, then other government will come to control. And when other government come to control, they would like to control some part of the nation. That's why you see these shape of nation easy to be broken. You see Vietnam in the past, yeah? In the past, Vietnam was divided into two parts. One government control in the north and other government in the south. But not only one foreign government, yes? Vietnam history, you see many governments from other nations would like to control Vietnam. Like China, you see, United States, France, Japan. That's because far distant and government cannot control. It seems like government cannot be as strong as a strong policy, yeah, to support for a whole nation. Then some places do not allow or do not follow or something, so bring some problem. Can you find other nations that have the same situation, divided into some parts? Yeah, from Tin Tak share about protecting territory. That's we are discussing. Yes. Can you find other nations have the same situation that divided into? Yes. Hữu Luyến mentioned about Korea. Yes. Mok Quỳnh, Korea. Yes. And others? Other nation divided? That Vietnam was divided in the past, yeah, but luckily for Vietnam, we are united, yeah, into one. That's the lucky for Vietnam. But Korea, you see, until now is still divided into two governments. Yeah, it's not the foreign government come, but something related to the government is not come from foreign, but the foreign government may have some influence, yeah, on North Korea and South Korea. China have something separated. Okay, this case in the past you may forgot, or okay, I would like to show you about another case in German. Yeah, in German in the World War II. German in the World War II is divided into 4 pieces. Yeah, China and Taiwan. China and Taiwan. Yes, this is in history, but now it is the separate nation. Yeah, separate nation. This is not belong together, but China is another nation. But Korea is one nation, but it's divided. Yeah, And German, you see, the same like Vietnam, but Vietnam divided into two parts. German divided into 4 parts in the World War II, and 4 governments control the nation. Yeah, each part one government. But now as well, yeah, lucky for German, that unite into one. German in this, yeah, this shape of nation, you can see it's have a part with narrow. Yeah, it is not long and narrow like Vietnam, but it's have part with narrow like Korea. Yeah, and it have some tail. Yeah, that make this cookie, yeah, easy to be broken into pieces. That you see, shape of nation, yeah, shape of nation tell us something about advantages and disadvantages, and support more or less for the okay, the economy, as well as for political issue. Yes. So we move to the next to next shape is the, okay, I want to show in Vietnamese of this is, and the next shape is like this. Look like this. Here's a support a big part and a tail. Yeah, a tail. And with this, we can see the big part is look like compact part. Yeah, and the tail is like elongate. Therefore, we can see this kind of shape have both advantages and disadvantages of compact and elongate. Yeah, so we don't need to discuss more. We can combine the previous discussion for this shape of nation. Okay, so we move to the next shape is about fragment. Yeah, fragment means separate into many pieces. Yeah, not several like elongate, but many pieces. And this is a naturally separated. Yeah, it's not like elongate. Elongate is a separated by political issue, but in nature we see it has no separate. Yeah, it's unite into one, but with fragment like Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia is divided into many pieces like Philippines has more than 1,000 islands, and with this have many disadvantages as well. So what is the shape of fragment? It is the state that separated by physical, yeah, or I think this is not all. It's barrier, because based on physical barrier, it causes human barrier. So first, what is a physical barrier? Barrier, yeah, with barrier we can see disadvantage, yeah, and disadvantages. That like Philippines is a typically with a fragment nation, and the physical barrier here is the ocean. The ocean separates Philippines into more than 1,000 islands. So what this barrier bring disadvantages? Can you find disadvantages with this barrier? And we will discuss with human barrier later. Yeah, Indonesia, Malaysia have some, but it's not more fragment than Philippines. Is Mok Quỳnh share? It's hard to communicate. You mentioned about Philippines, right? The fragment. Okay, yeah, hard to communicate. Why? Why it's hard to communicate? So before we mention about it's hard to communicate, we can see the very big disadvantage is a very hard to transport to move, yeah, to transport, yes, to connect Iceland to Iceland, and then hard to communicate, like Mok Quỳnh mentioned about that. Yes, from Ngọc Châu, people difficult to migrate. Yes, difficult to migrate is like to move from one place to other place. Yes, because it's very far and the distance is the deep ocean. Yeah, very difficult and dangerous. Yes, from Kim Ngân, difficult to unify. Yes, as well. Okay, but please, Kim Ngân, mention about your ideas. What is the unify? Unify what? Maybe many. What difficulties to unify? That's the thing we have to discuss more. All that. Okay, so the first disadvantage we can see difficult for transport. Because difficult to transport, that difficult people connect with people as well to communicate. And we can see as well, yeah, government difficult to communicate people from different islands as well, yeah. From here, yeah, problems about peace or social conflicts will be solved difficulty and led by government. Yes, as well. You see, like illogate, just far distant, no separate. You see, no separation, just far distant. The government difficult to control, and with this, very far distant and separate. Yeah, that's people from one island do something that government doesn't know. That bring many problems, like you mentioned about social problems, yeah? Social conflicts. Yes, and social conflicts can be other region. Why the fragmentation has more social conflict? That's very important. We have to discuss more in this. From Kim Ngân, yeah, difficult to unify. Fragments they have many non-continuous territories, so it's difficult to agree a common culture, and rules. Yeah, different. Difficult to agree on common culture and rule. It's like each area, yeah, they keep their own culture and rules, right? They don't want uh, to make okay. They don't want to share, and they keep their own rule. Okay, if Kim Ngân mentioned about people in each part, they keep their own rules. It means they don't want to follow the government rule, right? Something like that. We may think more about that. Yeah. From Minh Ngân, yes, hard to communicate and transport, yes, to maintain national identity, Yeah, maintain national identity. What is it? Yes, Kim Ngân mentioned about, yes. Yeah, and other disadvantages. So in some we can see like difficult to communicate difficult to transport, difficult to connect areas to area, and with government difficult to communicate with every people. One of you mentioned about difficult to migrate, like labor, yeah, moving from place to place for job. Yeah, that's why if in one island, yeah, lack of opportunity, they can't move or they can't migrate to other island, so they are poor. Yes, that's the big problem, and the government very difficult to support the people. That you see, that the fragment nation is easy to be poor, yeah. And with the separate area like this, if government would like or government try to connect Iceland to Iceland, government have to build a lot of infrastructure, right? But with very difficult the geographical distance like this, we discussed before, yeah. Okay, very difficult geographical distance like this. To build or to develop the infrastructure like this, the government have to spend a lot investment, yeah, a lot of cost, and fragmentation poor. How can they develop very expensive connection like this? And even they spend a lot of money for very nice infrastructure like this. When disaster comes, yeah, like a tropical storm, yeah, tropical storm comes, or earthquake comes, the infrastructure totally destroyed. Like in the deep ocean, like in Philippines, you see, Philippines, we know that Philippines receive many, sorry, receive many natural disaster every year. Yeah, many tropical storm and some earthquakes, volcano, volcano that bring many problems with the disaster. How the government build the infrastructure for connection as well, like some of you mentioned, how government solve the disaster problem every year. That's why they are poor. Yeah, they spend a lot of investment for this problem. That you see many disadvantages with physical barrier. Okay, so now we discuss with human barrier. Some of you mentioned about human barrier is about, so we should look back. It's hard to communicate. Yeah, it's hard to communicate. Is a way is one of human barrier that people doesn't want to. People cannot communicate together. That is a human barrier, right? When people cannot communicate to each other, what happened? That they don't understand to each other. They don't want to cooperate. They don't want to share. They don't want to what? Yeah, for communicate. So they don't understand to each other, and they don't want to okay to cooperate strictly to support for national economy, because they don't understand to each other. How can they cooperate? And difficult for marriage. Difficult for marriage if we think that labor cannot move to find a job, that labor people cannot support for national economy as well. Difficult for transport. Think about people, think about producer in one island, yeah, when they produce the product but no transport, how can they deliver the products to the markets? Yeah, you see, big problem. If they try, to transport. The producer costs a lot for transportation. Then how can they sell the product with a good price? You see, this is the problems for the national economy. Yes, and about human barrier. So I give you some information. Then you may think, what is the human barrier? Like in Philippines. Philippines has more than 1,000 islands. It means Philippines has more than 1,000 languages. That some of you mentioned about different culture and rules. It's related to languages. Each island speak with different languages. Because of that, they don't understand each other, right? Other islands speak with other languages. How can they understand? That is the human barrier. And what happened with this? Okay, you see how government can understand more than 1,000 languages, and each government just managed a nation in the period of 4 to 5 years. How the government can learn more than 1,000 languages only in 4 years? Very difficult, right? That's why you see, that's why the Philippines government developed the national language. That every people can speak national language, right? But the problem is local people doesn't want to speak national language. That they would like to speak local language, like some of you mentioned. Why they don't want to speak national language? They would like to keep their own languages. They would like to keep their own culture and rules. Why? That's the big reason for human barrier. And as well, because they are poor, right? And we know that Philippines in the past, Philippines was colonized, yeah, of I think UK, or I don't know, yeah, some of colonies. So Philippines can speak English or international language very well. Then instead of Filipino speak national language, they prefer to speak international language like English or French, Portugal, because they can go to work in other nations to have good job, because they can't find job within the nation. They cannot migrate. And if we migrate to other nation to get the better job, have the better income. Even they migrate, you see, even one labor migrate to other island, the job with low income. So they prefer to move other country because they can speak good international language. And they work for global firm for something. Like you see, many Philippines worldwide, yeah, work in other country. That means they don't want to support for national economy, but they support for other economy. That is the human barrier. So again, we back with why local people doesn't want to speak national language. They would like to keep their own local language and prefer to speak international language. Why? Do you have any ideas about that? Yes, very, very important. Yes, and this brings the very big human barrier that's government very, very difficult to manage a whole nation. Yeah, the same like Vietnam. Yeah, you see, Vietnam in we have some part with in the highland area. Yeah, Vietnam Vietnam has some place within the high mountain, and we have many ethnic minority, yeah, groups living in separately in mountains. That is the fragment area of Vietnam, and you see those ethnic minority speak in different language. Yeah, in the past, we don't they don't understand Vietnamese government, and Vietnamese government as well cannot support for them. But now, yeah, now Vietnamese government develop well infrastructure to connect those people. Then they can go to school and learn Vietnamese language, so they can understand and government can communicate with them. That's the lucky case for Vietnam, but with Philippines it's very difficult. We can see why, yeah, because Vietnam, even in the highland area, but this part, yeah, this part of Vietnam can connect with other part of Vietnam, but Philippines is separated by deep ocean. Yeah, so very difficult. Okay, from thing that I think people are more acceptable with something that is nowhere, that's in international language. They want something that makes them feel safe for the present and future. Yes, yes, that is right. That is right. They prefer speak international because international can support them to find the better job and have better income. Yes, but the problem why they don't want to speak national language. From Đăng Khoa, yeah, foreign languages provide the competitive edge in career choices. Yes, yes, it's right. You have the same discussion with Tinda. Yes, but the question is why they don't want to speak national language. And if they don't want to speak national language, they can't connect together. They make the big human barrier between them, and they cannot support for their nation. They cannot support for the national economy. That's why they are poor. Sorry, that's why the national economy is weak and poor. But why? They don't want to speak national language. Okay, if you have no idea, then I say something about it. Philippines is a special case, but in other fragment nation, we can see the similar situation. But the case in Philippines very special because Philippines has more than 1,000 islands, more than 1,000 languages. And why they don't want to speak national language? Because of land resources. Because because of land limited. Why land limited brings this problem? You see, Philippines is separate by the deep ocean. Yes, and nowadays the big problem, the global problem is the global climate change. Yes, and global climate change causes the sea level rise. When sea level rise, what happens? Sea level rise, then the land of each island is narrower. Yeah, narrower. Land is limited. That people in each island, they have to share less land together, but they are in one community, so they will protect themselves because they are in one community. Each island, each community, and they will protect for themselves. They share less land. Therefore, when the newcomers come, like some of you mentioned, cannot migrate, like the newcomers from other island move to other island. That's the newcomers come to the new island, and the local community doesn't want to share land for the newcomers. That's why they don't want to speak international. They don't want to speak national language, because when the newcomer come, they can understand. If they understand, so they will live in their island. That's why they speak local language, so the newcomer don't understand. If they don't understand, they can't live. Yes, that's the big problem. And because of that, so they would like to keep their own language. And as well, because they keep their own language, so they can maintain or protect their own, like you mentioned about local culture and local rules. Yeah, rules may be related to the local, the traditional culture and traditional society, yeah, of each island. That support well for each island can keep the local identity. Yeah, some of you mentioned about very difficult to control the national identity. In some case, it is right, yeah. But in other case, you see, if each island have its own identity, it can be the beautiful picture of various local identity of the fragment nation. And this can be the advantage for economy, right? Support well for tourism services, because tourists, yeah, around the world, very interesting with local culture, local identity. Then the fragment nation can develop well tourism. Yeah, this is one advantage for various culture and local identity. And with this, we can see some other advantages, right? With local culture, local resource, that local people will produce the local products, yeah, very special local products. Then can support well for tourists, as for tourism. And if they can sell the local products, they can sell the very special, yeah, products. They can introduce the special products to customer, to consumer for something. Yes, but because very weak transportation, that they very difficult for them, yeah, to deliver the products. That's the big problem. Yes. Can you find some other disadvantage? But in some, we can see, the fragmentation has many disadvantages and brings so many problems for government to control a whole nation as well as for each people. They can survive in the very difficult geographical condition like fragment. Okay, uh, please take note for your exam. You may have some, you may be asked the question related to this. And should we have the break in 10 minutes? And then we will continue with the next Shape Up Nation. Yes, we have break into 9:42. Thank you so much for all of your sharing ideas. Yes, thank you. Okay, so should we continue? Yeah, so hopefully that you have the good notes, yeah, for the previous shape of nation and support for your exam. Uh, so then we continue with the next shape of nation is a perforate. I'm sorry for Vietnamese of this is yes, and with this I don't know. Okay, this is yeah. It look like a cookie with put some sheet or some in the middle, yeah, together. It's like a cookie with some decoration, yeah, in a cookie. But the sheet or the decoration is a smaller, yeah, smaller thing. But this is a smaller nation inside one nation. That you see, perforate, yeah, perforate is a nation that completely surrounds another. Yeah, that we mentioned about the bigger one and the smaller one. This is enclave. Yeah, enclave is a nation that is totally surrounded by another. That's why you see we will discuss these two shapes together because have relation. Yeah, so less is a Lesotho. Lesotho is a smaller country that is totally located in South Africa. So South Africa, the bigger one is a perforate, and Lesotho, yeah, Lesotho here, Lesotho, yeah, the smaller one is enclave. We call this enclave. Yeah, enclave in Vietnamese. Yeah, opposite with perforate. Uh, then these shapes has advantages and disadvantages as well. And it seems like they have opposite advantages and disadvantages, right? Um, but what do you think? Which one has more advantages or more disadvantages? The bigger one or the smaller one? The bigger one, like in this, is South Africa, and the smaller is Lesotho. Uh, we have another case like Vatican City. Yeah, Vatican City is the independent nation, but totally located in Rome, and Rome is belong Italy. Yeah, but Lesotho case is different with Vatican case. Yeah, Vatican City is independent and has some influence or power in the world. But Lesotho is not like that. However, Vatican City and Lesotho is the same. It's the same enclave. Yeah, you see Vatican City here, enclave. But which one is more advantages and more disadvantages? Okay, well, we can see the bigger one has more disadvantage. Sorry, more advantage than, right? Because it is totally controlled. The smaller one, and the smaller one has is more disadvantage than, because you see when people in the smaller one would like to move in or move out, that must be allowed, yeah, must be allowed by the bigger one. That's some difficulties. Then, and if we think about the economy for Lesotho, for example, when Lesotho would like to sell the products to other nations, would like to import, export something, you see, some difficulty or must be must be known by the bigger one, or the bigger one may have some profit, yeah, from this activity. It seems like, yeah, bigger one has more advantage there. Is there any disadvantage for the bigger one? Maybe yes or maybe no, yeah. But if we can see, if the smaller one has the problem, some problems like some conflict within a nation, then the bigger one like South Africa may have some impact, yeah. Or if the smaller one has conflicts with the bigger one, so it's also brings some problem. That, however, yeah, we can see the smaller one has more disadvantage than the bigger one. Yeah. Okay. So we move to the next shape of nation. This is exclave. Okay, exclave. Yes, exclave is like Alaska or Hawaii. Yeah, Alaska or Hawaii is the case of exclave. Exclave is not separate. It's not totally a nation, but it's a part. Yeah, it's a part of nation. But the special case like Alaska. Alaska is belongs to the United States. United States is a motherland, but Alaska is not connect, yeah, uh, geographical connect to motherland. That Alaska is connect to Canada, but Alaska is not belong Canada, but belong USA. So this is exclave. It's like the extra part, yeah, of the motherland. Hawaii is the same. That's all. Yeah, it's called exclave. Okay, so we move to the last shape of nation is the landlocked nation. Here on the map show us about the nations that are the landlocked nation. So the characteristic of this shape is it has no access to the ocean. That the nation has no sea border. Yeah, it's located inside the continent, and they have no sea border. This may bring some disadvantages for these landlocked nations. You see, they have the disadvantageous situation of needing to rely upon neighboring countries to access the seaports. That, you see, this is the big disadvantage in economic activity and in economic connection to global economy for this kind of landlocked nation. Because you all may agree with seaports is important, yeah, for economy, especially for sea shipping. And there are several ways of shipping, right? But sea shipping is important because it's cheap and can carry with mass production. Then seaports is important. Most of trading, yeah, is through this way. And okay, landlocked nation can use other logistics like air logistics or road logistics, but those way have some limitation, right? Like air transport is expensive, and road transport is a limit in a continent. Therefore, sea transport is important. But landlocked nation has no sea border, so they may have the problem for import exportation. That's why they must depend, yeah, on their neighboring coastal nation for these services. And as well, they may cost more for their economy, right? On the earth, on the world global economy, the world count, there are 43, yeah, landlocked countries. Yeah, like in a map show like that. And well, with this, we can see the coastal nation, yeah, uh, support more for landlocked nation as well. The coastal nation can earn some profit, yeah, earn or more profits from the landlocked nation if they understand well their neighbor has no sea border. Yeah, that there. These are some case study for landlocked nation, and in Southeast Asia have a case with landlocked nation as well. Can you find the landlocked nation in Southeast Asia? Where is the landlocked nation? That the nation has no sea border. Yeah. Thailand, Thailand or Cambodia? Yes. Laos, yes. Yes. Laos is the landlocked nation. Only Laos, yeah. In yes, only Laos in Southeast Asia. Thailand has sea border. Cambodia has sea border. However, sea border in Cambodia has a limit development. Therefore, Cambodia still depends some, yeah, on Vietnam and Thailand. But Laos is totally depend, yeah. Laos totally depend on Vietnam and Thailand. And with this, you see, the coastal nation like Vietnam and Thailand, if these nations understand well about Laos' problem, the nations can earn some profits, yeah, from Laos as well as Cambodia. But you see, that's why Laos and Cambodia depend more on Vietnam. And Vietnam government understand well about the geography of Laos and Cambodia. That's why you see Vietnam government created Asian Road. You know Asian Road that connects from Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon Port, yeah, Saigon Port to Củ Chi, yeah, to Mộc Bài, Tây Ninh, yes. And this is the Asian Road to connect Laos and Cambodia at Mộc Bài Gate. Then Vietnam support for Laos and Cambodia for import-export to Saigon Port, and now, yeah, to other ports of Vietnam like Cát Lai or other ports of Vietnam. That you see, Vietnam has a very special absolute location. Therefore, okay, we already discussed before some problems with foreign government comes, yeah, and but through this Asian Road, Vietnam can earn more profits from Laos and Cambodia. Not only support for import exportation, yes, but also Vietnam sell Vietnamese products to Laos, to Cambodia. More economic cooperation with Laos and Cambodia, as well as through this Asian Road, Vietnam can connect with Thailand, yeah, for economic trading as well as for tourism. You see, yeah, that's, you see, Vietnam understand well about and explain well about the geography of landlocked nation in here. Yes, and until now we already uh, discussed with all kind of shape of nation, and in some, yeah, we can see each nation may have um, different advantages and disadvantages. Yeah, and based not only based on the shape, but also about the size. Yeah, sorry, about the size of nation, how large, how small of the total area, and as well related to the absolute location as well. You see, uh, with other concepts. Okay, go back with, if we look, sorry, if we look in all of the geographical concepts for one nation, we may see some information that can support more for national economy. Like we have the world map. In this, we can see the size, yeah, the scale of the nation, the location, the absolute location, and the distance, yeah, the distance between nation. Then we may see the spatial interaction amongst nations, depend on their location, their geographies, and maybe political relations as well. That the spatial interaction in global economy is become more dynamic and more complex, yeah, within the global economy. And if we look at the location of the nation, we can see and we may find some interesting answers for the question why some nation have the special opportunity to develop the economy. We can see why some nation can be the very strong economies in the world. Like, you know, the world has G7, yeah, G7. So what is a G7? Yeah, like G7. G7 is 7 strong economies in the world. And G7, you see, is several decades still maintain 7, sometime go to 8, yeah, or G20. I'm sorry, 38, G8. But G7 is, yeah, maintained the 7 strong economy, and G7 support more for global economy as well, that they can be a stronger economy, yeah, for their national, for their nation. That's, is there any related to um, absolute location, size, and shape of these G7 that support for these nations or have the strong economies in the world? And in G7, we may see some special economy like United States, UK, United States, UK, yes, and the emerging strong economy like Japan. Japan, you see, in 1960, no resources, but now strong economy. But not only stronger economy, but it's Japan is one member of G7. That is in seven strongest economy in the world. Is there any related to absolute location? The geographical characteristic of these nations to support for their strong economy, and especially United States. Do you have any thinking about why United States is always in the first rank of the strongest economy in the world for many decades? Yeah, or if we can say from the World War One to the World War II and until now, USA is always the first rank, the strongest economy. That you see, most of the international organization, the top leader is US government. For every problem in the world, yeah, every people waiting for the US government say something. That's because US government is a top leaders of international organization. Do you have any? Do you think that United States have the very special geography that support for this nation will be the strongest, biggest economies in the world? Okay, we're back with uneven development of nature that you see. We see in resources. United States have more kind of resources, right? United States. Okay, like this. More kind of resources. Yes. That can support more for this nation to produce many kind of products. And what else? The question is there any absolute location of the United States support for this nation to have the strong military in the world? Not only the strongest economy, but also the strongest military in the world. That's United States sell a lot of new weapons, yeah, and support for the World War One and World War Two, and through this, United States can earn a lot of money, and United States spend those money to develop the economy. That's why from the World War One to World War Two and until now, United States can develop well economy to be the strongest to the world. Do you think so? And the second case is a UK. So the question is why United States can be the strongest military in the world, to the world. Why why United States can create new weapons sell the weapons to because you see other nations like German, France, Italy, yeah, they all create the weapons, but they can be as strong military as United States. Do you know why? Why US can create okay from thing that work, so they can develop the economy far more than others. Then they have more power thanks to the strong economy. Moreover, they have a long coastal area in the east. Can you explain more about a long coastal in the east that support for their economy and support for them they not affected by world war? Can you say something more? But you are right. From Minh Quang, yes, the U.S. geographical position is the adjacent to two great oceans. Yeah, both sides of ocean. Yes, the Pacific Ocean and Atlantic Ocean. So when the war takes place, it will need to cross the two oceans to reach the U.S. So they have the opportunity to defend to produce weapons to supply to the warring parties. Yes, yes, this is right. Uh, but why United States it was not affected by the World War? From thing that they have more ports for transportation. Okay, yes, because they have two sides of coastal area, very long. Then they can develop well many ports for trading, and they earn more for economy. And from Danqua, because Europe is the united under the unity of US dominate NATO. Oh, yes. And what else? From think that it is long distance from Europe to US. Yes, this is long distance. But it's not only long distance, but also one thing. From Hồng Phúc, do not directly participate in the combat, but sell weapons to other country. Yes, but in sum, for all of your ideas, you all mentioned about U.S. has not affected by the World War, and they have opportunity to develop the economy, and as well long distance seaport. But the thing that U.S. not only be influenced by the World War, but U.S. sell the weapon and support for World War One and World War Two. It means that before World War One and World War Two come, U.S. had create new weapons. Yes, and other nations have no new weapon. Then they have to buy from the United States. Why United States can create new weapons, but other nations like Germany, France, Italy, UK could not? And why the US is not affected by the World War? Because US have strong weapon. How other enemy can attack United States? That's the problem. That not that the problem. That is why United States have no effect by the World War, because United States sell weapons to the World War. I should say United States sold the weapon to the World War. So they were already strong. How other enemy could attack? That's why. So The question is why United States can create the good military, create the many new weapons, but other could not. Yes, Hồng Phúc do not directly participate in combat but sell weapons to other country. Okay, we already discussed. And you have any idea for this? So think about. Some of you mentioned about U.S. has both sides of sea border. Think about that. This is the absolute location of the United States. So think about how a nation can create a new weapon and how the weapon can work. How can the new weapon work before selling? And you see, weapon is the very dangerous products, right? That can destroy the area in the large scale. That's very dangerous and very risk. You see, it's not means that other nation like German, France, Italy cannot create the new weapon. They can't, but they can develop as well as the United States. Because you see, to create a new weapon before selling, the United States must test the weapon. Yeah, for sure, it can work. So where is the area that United States can test the weapon? The location like the European country in the Western European, you see, they can create a new weapon, but they have no place for testing. Because if they test in the border, yeah, it may destroy. Yeah, the area of the nation as well as their neighbor. But the United States, you see, it has two sides of sea border and far distant. Yeah, as some of you mentioned, far distant with other nation. So when they test the new weapon, no dangers, no destroys. Yeah, with the neighbors as well. When they test or they create the new weapon, nobody knows, and they can produce the new weapons, a new product to sell to other nation. So think about if you have the exam in the class, yeah, and when you sit close with your colleague in the exam, uh, your friends, yeah, can copy something from your paper as well. You can copy, yeah, something from your friend's paper because you sit close together. But if you sit separately and nobody surround you, when you do something or you write something, nobody knows. That's why the United States have many new inventions that compete, no competitors. Yeah, the United States has no competitor. That's the absolute location of the United States that some of you mentioned about. The absolute location of United States, the isolate, yeah, and long distance, and very important, more important than Canada, yeah, close to yet to United States, but Canada is the alliance with the United States. It seems like United States has no enemies, yeah, no enemies, and U.S. strong. So no enemies can attack or invade United States. And with this support, you see, the United States can create more weapons faster and new weapons to sell to other nations, and they earn a lot of profit, a lot of money. And U.S. use those money to develop the economy for a very long time. That they can develop very well and be the strongest economy in the world. Yes, uh, and like you see, they have many mineral resources. They have many resources like many landscape that very support for the national economy. Yeah, you may think about other geographical uh, characteristic of UK or Japan as well. Yeah, Japan. There's a special case in Asia. Uh, why very small country, lack of resources, but be the strong, be one of G7. Very special. Yeah. Why? So if you look back the history of Japan economy since 1960, you can see after no resources how Japan produced products. Yes. So in this time, yeah, instead of producing products without resources, so the Japan developed another economy. Why is it? Japan created the shipping service, and from shipping service, Japan saved more money to import material, to import resources for producing products. That is the case of Japan. And then from the very poor nation before 1960, after 1960, Japan become become the strong economy. So Singapore is the same. Singapore now, you see, is a very special absolute location uh, in the center of global shipping. That's why Singapore knows well about its geography. So Singapore developed well the global shipping center to connect with global trading, and Singapore earn a lot from these services. Vietnam is located in the special logistic center as well, but why Vietnam cannot develop well the global shipping? So you may find some information for this. Okay, so you see just about the basic geographical concept, we can explain for many information related to national economic development. And if we understand well about these concepts, we can apply well for national economy, as well that we may have more good spatial interaction to other nations, to find good partners from other nations and develop well for the national economy, then we can involve more into global economy. Yeah, think about some of global firm like Starbucks Coffee, Nestle, Samsung, yeah, Coca-Cola. They exploit well the geography of their partners that they can, yeah, sell more their products. Yes. Okay. We still have the last part because we have no time enough. So I just say a little bit with this section. We will discuss more next time. Next time we will focus on this theory. The last part of this chapter, we will discuss about the theories, the basic theory of economic geography based on the geographical characteristic that a company, yeah, will create their business and produce products. Economic geography theories we will divide it into two groups. Yeah. So in the first group, the theories mainly based on physical geography, and the second group is mentioned more in other aspects like we already mentioned, yeah, about geography, not only physical but also social, cultural, political, yeah, and so on. That's the second theory, yeah. Consider more on social aspect, cultural aspect, political, that support more for economy. But the theory in the first group is mainly based on absolute location, distance, and you see more mentioned about the physical characteristic of geography. And we will discuss more in the theory of Alfred Weber. Very important to understand. And then we will discuss with August Lost theory. So the second group we not mention more because this very this have various way in different geography, yeah, different location have different social, cultural, political. It seems like no general um, no general um, like principle, yeah, for the theory, but depends on each location. We must exploit. We must uh, understand about the society, the culture, government, political of each nation are different. And if we understand well these aspects of each location, then we can access, yeah, like we mentioned, connectivity, accessibility of the new markets or potential markets. But the first groups, yeah, we may know well about the location, the distance, will support more for um, economic activity. Yes. Uh, okay. So I think we should leave this discussion next time because we need more time for discussion in these two theories. But if you want to have more discussion next time, so please read in your handout first and raise some question for further discussion. Then you can have more plus support for your extra point. Today, thank you so much for all of your sharing. You have very nice sharing with many intelligent ideas, and you get the plus. Thank you so much for all of your sharing. And yeah, hopefully that you will support more next time. And thank you, and see you all next time. I think we should stop here. But if you have any question or uh, misunderstanding something, so we can discuss. Yes, thank you so much for all of your sharing. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And yes, and have a nice lunch. Yes, thank you.